We are talking right now with Shaun Toohey, running for a re-election bid on the Haverhill School Committee. Welcome to the program, Shaun.
My pleasure. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here today. I know that's been a very, very full day for you. We saw you through the window running from the parking lot, putting your jacket on, changing out of your hockey clothes from the game you just came from with your kids. So that being the case, I know that, tell us a little bit about your history on the Haverhill City Council, on the Haverhill School Committee.
Well, I'm going on my 12th year. I've been fortunate enough by the citizens of Haverhill to elect me for a few terms. And I've been working hard. I've the only candidate right now in this race that I am aware of that I have two children that attend Haverhill Public Schools, which I'm very proud of. My daughter, Delaney, who's attending the high school, and she's a sophomore. She's in the Classical Academy. My son, Jack, who's in 6th grade at J.G. Whittier. And it's been, as a father, it's been impressive to see them grow, not only, more importantly, educationally throughout the system. And you know, they've been very fortunate to have some wonderful teachers and administrators in the district. So we've been fortunate.
That's a very interesting dynamic that you bring up, because if you have kids in the school system, as you say, you are not a legislator at a distance by any means. You are right in the mix, along with all the other parents.
No, absolutely, and I hear this, and you know, after I leave here, I'm going to, she's playing for varsity soccer, so I hear it on the soccer field, and I hear it in the hockey rink, day in and day out. So it's those decisions that I've made over the last several terms, and it has not only an impact on just my kids, but all of our children throughout the district. So reducing class size, reducing user fees, having the proper resources for Haverhill are critical. I think if you want to talk about funding, antiquated formula, Chapter 70, I think will change. The legislature has been working on that, I think, for a couple of years. We have a new hunking school, which we're very excited about. It's going to not just assist Bradford, but it's going to assist the whole community. So we're very excited about, I'm pleased with the accomplishment and the decisions I've made over the last several terms, but there's much more work to be done, and I'm looking forward to rolling up my sleeves as I normally do and getting to work again.
And the much more work would include what, for example?
Well, it's certainly being visible. Number one, hearing constituent services or listening to constituents is paramount. I mean, there's a lot of times that when you're out in this community, Frank, you kind of fly at a different elevation. So sometimes you're so far removed from what's going on, you can't manage the superintendent, you know, but at the same time, hearing the feedback from parents, staff, faculty, teachers, you know, all the way down to the cafeteria workers, it's important to hear what's going on day in and day out. So we take those, as an elected official, I think it's our responsibility to take those concerns and address them at the appropriate time without stepping on anyone's toes, and doing it in a respectful manner and addressing with the superintendent. So I think that certainly happens quite often, quite frankly.
Would you look at the Haverhill school system and describe it as, in comparison to other school systems, I'm putting you on the spot.
Sure.
But would you consider it superior, adequate, or in need?
I would say right now adequate. We've had so many changes at the top level. I mean, there have been some inconsistencies over 3 terms. Talk about superintendent. Yep. Mr. Scully's been my 4th superintendent. So that. I don't want to use the word turnover, but that inconsistency at the top is a critical component, because now you've got Assistant Superintendent of Julie, who's new. We had Jonathan Letcher, who was here for an accountability officer, who's no longer here. So we need to make sure that we start not just at the superintendent level and the assistant superintendents. We need to make sure that that's stable, and most importantly, what we've done from a contractual basis is what's going on in the classroom. So teachers, we feel that we resolved that contract, and we're able to stabilize the district in that regard and move the district forward with a contract that makes sense to retain and attract effective teachers. So I think, you know, again, as a dad, more importantly than a school committee member, making sure that we reduce that attrition and turnover for teachers in particular that are in front of my children and as well as everyone else's. That's a critical component that needed to be addressed. We've addressed it. And I feel very confident that, although I say the word adequate today, like I said, there's a lot of work to be done, and we're very excited, or I'm excited to get to work and continue to improve our system so that we can make it a robust educational climate for all of our children.
What gets it into a superior category? Is it the what's taught in the classroom, or is it administratively lining everything up on the backside so that the classroom comes in automatically?
Well,
You know what I mean by that?
I think I do, and I'll answer it this way, and you can correct me if my answer is not sufficient. But I believe that it's across the board, but it starts in my opinion, in the classroom. And I think we have some wonderful teachers in our district, and a lot of great things are happening in Haverhill Public Schools. I can tell you firsthand knowledge of that. I think the curriculum and the rigor at the high school is in my opinion, is superior if you want to compare just the high school, but I'm talking as a whole. I think that was the question you asked. Right. As far as administration is concerned, we have lost a couple key people, unfortunately, but at the same time, Superintendent Scully is doing his very best to make sure that he brings forward data and contracts and recommendations that make sense to make sure that we stabilize the district and get us to the next level. So in my opinion, it's not the time to change, even though there's an open seat, and I just want to make sure I'm one of those seats. I think that experience that I bring to the table is something that's in need right now to make sure that we stabilize the district and move it forward and get it to the next level.
So it's always moving forward. It's never taking a step back, and not with all the things that have been going on.
Yeah, you never settle. I mean, we never do. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself, but my colleagues feel the same way. And that has happened over the last several terms. Years and years ago, you may remember, Frank, that we were looked at almost as a dysfunctional unit. That has changed dramatically. We don't all agree on everything, of course, but this committee has one vision, and that vision is to make sure that we're doing our very best and making prudent decisions to make sure that our children have the best educational opportunities possible.
Will you know that you've succeeded in the goals that you're talking about right now when the number of when a student wants to opt out to another school
district? Choice?
Yeah, when the school choice numbers dwindled to be minuscule for those students wanting to move out versus increasing dramatically the number of students that want to come in.
I don't know if that's
a barometer?
I don't know if that's the right benchmark or barometer,
okay.
But we've been working very hard on that. But there's different dynamics with that. I've also recommended, which I'd like to see more of. I've suggested several years ago about when people work, they have exit interviews, and I've always asked. I haven't received it yet, but I bring it up almost every year. Well, I want to know why they're leaving. They say they do, but I haven't seen the data. I want to see concrete data that tells me why they're leaving. So, I mean, I know there's a myriad of issues that are on the table, but that's important.
Absolutely.
And I've been asking that for quite a while. So I know that, and again, it goes back to inconsistency at the top. You ask 1 year, I mean, so things change constantly. So I think we've stabilized that with Mr. Scully. He has a couple more years left on his contract, and he's committed to moving this district forward. I think he's done a decent job doing that, and I think that my colleagues and myself have done a very good job with the resources that we've had in having to make some tough decisions over the last several years.
Excellent. Shaun Toohey, running for re-election to the Haverhill School Committee. Thank you very, very much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Thank you.